Random reviews. It's all about the clues.
The judge in the hush money trial of President-elect Donald Trump has just handed down his sentence moments ago.
Yeah, as he previously indicated, Judge Juan Merchan issued a no-penalty sentence called an unconditional discharge.
The judge in the hush money trial of President-elect Donald Trump has just handed down his sentence moments ago.
Yeah, as he previously indicated, Judge Juan Merchan issued a no-penalty sentence called an unconditional discharge, and that means no jail time, no probation, no fines.
Right, but with that does come the official title now of convicted felon, and we did hear from the president-elect during this. Let's get right now to Lower Manhattan, where we have our team standing by. Our John Mueller is there live outside of the federal courthouse.
Breaking
this was something that we
news.
kind of expected leading up to this, right, with the Supreme Court ruling saying that we're going to move forward with this, right, John? The question was whether or not we were going to hear from President-elect Trump, whether or not he was going to speak, him calling this a very sad day for the court system, a very sad day for New York. And he said, the only thing I did was call a legal expense a legal expense. Can you hear us, John?
Dan, sorry, I had a little trouble hearing you, but yes, historic day outside here. Once again, New York criminal court at the forefront of history. President Trump will take that oath of office 10 days from now, and he will officially be a convicted and sentenced felon. He wore a red striped tie. He zoomed in from Mar-a-Lago, Florida. He was flanked by his lawyer. He had the opportunity to speak. He told the court that it was a disgrace, that he did not agree with any of the assertions made by the prosecution. He said that the voters agree with him, and that's why he's going back to office. But nonetheless, he has been sentenced. If you want to know the difference between today and other days when President Trump was here in person, you don't really see that line of court officers, the security much less than it normally was when President Trump was here, of course. There are security officers here. The cameras are certainly here from around the world, but you don't have that situation of maximum security because the president was allowed to zoom in from Mar-a-Lago, Florida. Again, President Trump wanted to fight this badly. He took it all the way to the Supreme Court late last night, 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court saying that the sentence could proceed. Interestingly enough, Amy Coney Barrett, one of Trump's appointees to the Supreme Court, siding with the liberal side, saying there's no presidential immunity here because he's not president yet. Of course, 10 days from now, he will be president. Really, there's a lot of symbolism in this. President Trump wanted to fight the stain of having that, and he thought maybe he could live to fight another day legally, not be sentenced at least for 4 more years, and maybe in that time find a way to beat this case. But that is not the case. Now the sentence stands. It has sort of been buttoned up. Judge Juan Merchan basically said he wanted to dignify the jury's hard work, the legal proceedings that went here in court. He wanted this basically put in the books. He didn't want to wait 4 years. He wanted the deliberations and all the hard work that went into this case to actually be officially recorded, and that's what it is. A little background, there's so many legal cases with President Trump, some of the viewers might not even be aware exactly what the case was. This is the hush money case against Stormy Daniels. It was 34 counts of falsifying business records, and we have Henry Rossoff directly back from the courtroom.
Hi, John, yes.
Hi, how are you? Tell us what happened in the
Very well. Well, Justice Merchan, in handing down this unconditional discharge, said it was the special protections afforded to the office of the president, not Mr. Trump himself, that made him inclined to do this unconditional discharge. And he relied very heavily on the election. He mentioned very specifically that the citizens themselves across the country decided that this was to be the verdict, this is what was to be rendered. There was really no disagreement about this would happen. It really was just the logic and what people would say. And what really struck me, and I think perhaps the most interesting And perhaps ironic moment is when the Manhattan District Attorney spoke. They talked about Mr. Trump, in their words, literally being a threat to the rule of law and the justice system in one breath, but then moved on to say the most practical thing to do to preserve the powers of the president and Mr. Trump's own rights to be officially convicted and sentenced and then go on and appeal was to sentence him to this unconditional discharge. So there was a real contrast there when the DA spoke. And then Mr. Trump, it was, to be frank, not much that we did not hear during the trial. He once again invoked the term witch hunt. He said that the trial itself never should have been brought in the first place. Didn't really break new ground there, wasn't particularly bombastic. He sat there, he was sedate the whole time, he was largely hunched over. He was awake. He was caught sleeping, notably during several points in this trial, if you'll recall. He was awake, he was alert, he was clearly frustrated to be there, but I think the general sense in the room was it's time to move on, it's time to move on to the next chapter, and that I could say that across the judge, the district attorney's office, and across Mr. Trump and his attorneys themselves.
One of the things that's kind of ironic is now that it's officially a sentence, now that it officially is a felony, it opens a brand new legal avenue up for the Trump legal team to try to get the verdict tossed out, something they couldn't do before this moment.
Yeah, you saw that at the appellate division in New York and also at the Supreme Court in some of the writings that we've observed so far. People are basically saying you can't get this verdict, this jury verdict overturned until everything's been completely adjudicated, and that includes, in this case, handing down a sentence. And the judge also made mention of that as well. This is essentially something that preserves the right of President Trump to appeal while he's running for president. But I really do want to underscore the point that the judge made about this being about the presidency and not about Donald Trump. We were all listening to see if he would give some sort of clue, some sort of statement along the lines of, well, if you hadn't been elected president, I might be doing this or this or this.
Yeah, right.
Justice Marchand did not do that. What he said was he really zeroed in on this completely unprecedented example of if the presidency was a mitigating circumstance. And he said it is not a mitigating circumstance, but it is a legal directive for him to do nothing but unconditionally discharge. I imagine those words are going to get picked apart for years to come.
Absolutely. All right. Well, history in the making. Again, fantastic reporting, Henry. I'm John Muller. We're down here in front of criminal court. We'll send it back to you guys.
Yeah, great.
There you have it. History in the making. Them say President-elect Trump was sentenced today on the 10th of January 2025 with some unconditional discharge. So, I know people want to think about that one. Put your thoughts in the comment section for me now. A Jay Kanye's Random Reviews, another episode. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying some of the different news and reviews. You see me a daily. Don't catch it close. Yeah, man, that's cruise where I cruise. Jay Kanye's Random Reviews. Thank you for watching. Just remember, subscribe to the channel and put a comment in the comment section. Peace, love, and abundance to all. Up and out.